What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Reports. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of Overlord 2, Episode 1, the second season of Overlord. Back to the world of Yggdrasil, back to Nazareth, back to Ainz and company and all of his people around him. And it feels so good to be back to this series. And something that happened at the end credits, not scene-wise, but still something big, is something I want to address at the top of the video. After the credits roll, we actually get a thank you from the writer of this series who says he'd like to thank everyone both domestically and internationally for supporting Overlord, because with the support that this series got was the reason that season 2 was able to be produced. And that is something that I preach all the time, is that if you want your favorite series to get another season, you need to go out there and support. You need to buy them figs, you need to buy them manga volumes, you need to buy those light novel volumes when they come to the States or wherever you live in. You need to buy them DVD volumes, which I know is very hard in Japan, because I complain about Aniplex prices all the time. That shit is expensive, which is why I don't own Full Metal Alchemist, because that shit is like $200. But I can't complain because they have to pay even more in Japan, which broke my heart, because seeing that the series name Roka only the Seven Flowers, seeing that only got like 500 DVD copies sold, that just killed my hopes of ever getting to season 2 again. And speaking of season 2s, you know, a lot of people are ranting and raving because Overlord 2 is under Madhouse, and we all know Madhouse doesn't do sequels. But that's not entirely true, because we've had 3 seasons of Hajime no Ippo. And the first season of that was like 50 episodes or 75, but that was a different time. That's when the episodes was longer. So technically, Madhouse has done a season 2 before. This wouldn't be the first time, but still, it's a good thing because it's not something that they're known for. And because it's done by Madhouse, this episode looked absolutely beautiful, especially in 4K with just how everybody is drawn and the type of lighting. And that's something that I enjoy about fantasy series very much, is that it always takes you into a world that looks very different. Like, that was one of the things I love the most about Rage of Bahamut, is how when you dealt with supernatural beings, when you dealt with these larger than life beings and, like, you know, these gods and demons, they always have like a certain lighting to show who they are, what side they're on, and it just looks magnificent. And Madhouse has spared no expense with doing this, and I think they're actually doing 2 series this year, because they're doing this, and I think they're also doing that series that's in Antarctica that I still need to check out, that I heard is very good, so I want to check that out as well. So for them to have 2 series under their belt in the same season, and they're still keeping up the quality that we've seen in episode 1 in Overlord, that is fantastic on Madhouse's side, and that's why people trust in them so much. And also the music. We gotta get to the music, because first and foremost, the opening. I like the opening. I like it even better when I saw the visuals to it. But I can't say it's better than the first opening. Nothing's going to top that. This is the same situation we've seen with the Ancient Magus' Bride. That first opening was just too good. And we got the same people back doing it, which is OXT. I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, let me know. They're on the track again, and it's a good track. It just can't beat that first one. And it just feels good to be back into the world of Overlord, to see all these characters again. And I know this episode came out early. This episode came out like on Christmas. But it goes back to the message I was saying, that I was waiting for it to actually go to wherever service it was going to go to, whether it was going to be Anime Strike, hopefully not Netflix. It got picked up by Crunchyroll at the last minute. I mean, they literally announced that they had it today, even though yesterday they announced they were going to get the dub. So I kind of let you know that it was going to be on Crunchy. But it's good that it's somewhere that I can actually support it, because, yeah, I pirate anime, I'm not going to lie, but I support legal anime as much as I can. If it's on Crunchyroll or if it's on Anime Strike, I'll watch it there, because we need to support these series in order to keep getting more and more good seasons. But that's enough of that. Let's get back to the Overlord hype. Let's get back to what we saw in this episode. And honestly, I have to say, the episode itself was just fine. It was just an okay episode, and I feel like this was just an episode to kind of ease you back into the world. But at the same time, we were introduced to I won't really say a lot of characters, but I feel like some of the people that we were introduced to in this episode, I feel like I should know who they are, but I don't know who they are, and that's because it's been so long since I've seen Overlord. I mean, think about it. Season 1 was in the summer season of 2015, and now we're back at the top of 2018 with the new series. And of course, it was good to get back to Nazareth, get back to Ainz, and get back to all these people. You know, Shaltir, El Beto, the Bay, Nabe, Hamtaro, all these, not Hamtaro, Hamsuke, to see all these people again and to see them back in their element. It just felt like I need to refresh and watch season 1 over again to completely talk about season 2, because I just feel like I'm missing some things. And what I mean by that is at the very top of the episode, we get introduced to some characters who I'm a little bit confused as far as if they are actually together or if they're two different factions. And I feel like I remember one character from season 1, but then again, I don't remember it. And I have all 3 volumes that were released in America, but I haven't read them yet. And the first group that we get introduced to is like a girl who's possibly going to be a rival to Shalltear, who is looking for the strongest, who we know is going to be Ainz right now. And she also questions his strength and wonders how strong a kid would be between her and the strongest, because she claims that she's the strongest. She even asked like her knight underling if, you know, if Shalltear is strong enough for her to face. And I don't remember, I think he said she's not. I think she said that she isn't strong enough to face you, which she was a little bit depressed about. However, Ainz would be another person that you need to worry about. Then we shift over to a big cool looking ass talking dragon and a very old lady who used to be a former warrior, and it looked like she had some armor. And again, this is where I feel like I saw this before in season 1, or they showed a flashback like we were supposed to remember who this person is, but I'm not sure if she's old or new. I'll have to go back and revisit, or you guys help me out in the comments. But a dragon and the lady were talking about how it was a girl who now took over her mantle. So maybe that was one of the maidens that we saw in season 1 that took over Shalltear's mind, and how she's gonna have to go back into the fray. The dragon's gonna have to go back into the fray to fight this war, because overall this is a war series. I mean, I know it has action and everything else to it, but when you're dealing with war and politics, it's always gonna be that power struggle. How they're gonna go back in, and everybody has their eyes on Ainz right now as he's making his waves and taking more and more land, building more land, and overtaking everything. So everybody has their eyes on him. They're going to be an adversary coming up. But one thing that we're probably going to focus on the most in this season is going to be the lizard men. And if you had a keen eye, you notice that this was actually teased in opening 1 of the first season, but it never came to. So I wonder if that was intentional, or if they knew it was going to be a second season, but it just took a little bit longer than they expected, or maybe they planned for season 1 to be even longer, because again, Kakidus is actually going to be the person that's spearheading this battle against the lizard men, who I want to talk to because they show at the end of the episode, or talk about rather, they seem like they're pretty noble. They seem like they're a kind race. They seem like they're just like a regular warrior race. So I think this is where the Overlord title and the meaning of this all is going to come in, because when you're a king and you're trying to rule, there's no good or bad. It's just people in your way. And I think this is what Ainz is going to face. And I think as he starts to gain more and more land and start overtaking people, and maybe perhaps people that maybe are good, is when he's himself is going to become the villain. And you can see him going down this path easily, becoming like the Lich King if you're familiar with Warcraft, where as he starts taking things over, whether he's good or bad or not, people are going to want to go for his head, or maybe he would get drunk with power, or just flat out people are going to want to take him down because no one wants their country taken over. So that is an interesting dynamic that we have in this series. But overall, once again, it just felt good to see all these characters again. Of course, with the Bae Albedo. I mean, my favorite character is Nabe. I love her, but I can see why everybody likes Albedo. I mean, she is completely in love with Ainz, and we know that's a little bit because of his programming. And it feels good to see those moments once again where you have to remember that Ainz is actually, you know, he's just like you and me. He's a guy playing an avatar character in his video game, even though he's trapped in that body. So when this extremely gorgeous character is coming up to him saying, "What do you want me to do, master? Do you want me to please you?" Inside, he's like, "Oh my God, yes, yes, please, please me, oh my God." But on the outside, he has to remember that he is this overlord, this stern king, and he has to keep up a certain type of personality, but it's hard for him to do that. That would be like me having Saber or, Revy right in front of me, or Fujiko from Lupe the Third, I'll be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. In my mind, I'll be going crazy. But if I was supposed to keep up a certain type of image, then it'll be hard to do that. And we see that struggle with Ainz. And a lot of times, he even reminds himself, he was like, you know what, I programmed her to be this way, but can I really handle this? So most of the episode, it felt like it was really fast, and I don't want to say it didn't feel like a lot went on, because that's what you have to deal with war series. It may not seem like a lot went on, even though this entire episode really didn't deal with anything, with just introducing new characters and kind of reminding us who everybody was. And I looked up and the episode was over, and I felt like nothing really was accomplished. But at the same time, it is the small things like this that are going to matter later, because we've seen these people at the beginning plotting against, at the very least, Shaltir and maybe Ainz as well. And then we have, this kingdom, which again feels like I should remember who these people are, and this young princess and her companion by the name of Climb, who's in the intro. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be important, who is going to go out, and I believe this kingdom is actually trying to seek out Ainz for its assistance in this war that's building around, as the other majority of the episode was really just Ainz and Albedo just plotting on what they're going to do next. He's building more areas for him to rule, building more mini bases around the area, so we get to see some of the other characters. And he's still going around as Mamon, because remember, he's using the alt character because we know how broken he is when he's the wizard. But when he's the warrior, it's kind of like he's starting all over again, and he's just testing his strength and everybody else's. So him and Nabe are still going around doing their thing with Hamsuke and just pretty much surveying and testing out the lower level people that he probably can just beat with just snapping his fingers if he's the wizard. So we still have that. But when he was planning and talking with Albedo, he actually gave her props, because it's all these kingdoms that are surrounded by each other and trying to take each other out. And he was like, I wonder which one I should be more weary of. And that's when she said the slave theocracy should be the one that he should be more cautious of, because they have a vengeance. I mean, you kind of wiped them out. So look forward to them coming back. And the look that he had, she thought she said something wrong. He was like, no, you know what? That's a good idea. And that's when I think this is where he's going to start to build more of a reputation of being the overlord here. And we see Kakidus basically getting sent off on a mission. And then we see the lizard men. We get a little bit of lizard men and get to know them a little bit and see that they may not be as bad as we think. We just automatically came in thinking they're going to be bad. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But at the end of the episode, it was like a herald that came along and said, death is coming for you. So I don't know if that's going to have something to do with their behavior, or is that just telling them that, yeah, this broken ass dude is coming. But either way, Overlord 2, episode 1, again, a fine episode. It was really nothing to write home about. I think the reason why it came out so early even is because this episode just felt like it was just dropping you back into this world and getting you ready. And I think episode 2, because the second episode is always the episode that does the world building. I think the second episode is when we're going to get our feet and roots into this season a little bit more and learn more about what's going on now that they, for the most part, got all of the characters out the way in the reintroduction. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's not a shortage of content for you guys to indulge on this channel. And as far as Overlord goes, I want to keep doing reviews for it, but sometimes I might do live reactions, because days like today where it was very busy, I kind of felt like I wanted to react to it, but at the same time I wanted to at least kick off doing the reviews, and it might be a little bit of back and forth. Let me know what you guys think of that as well, and I'll catch you guys later. So as I always say, you can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.